In the county town, there was a man named Wang, the seventh son in his family, born into an old aristocratic family. He had long admired the path of cultivation. Hearing that Laoshan had many immortals, he set out on a journey carrying his bookcase. At the mountaintop stands a quiet Taoist temple. A Taoist monk sits on a cushion, his white hair hanging down to his collar, his expression bright and detached. Knock on the door and enter to talk with him. The principles he spoke of were extremely profound and exquisite. I requested to become his disciple, and the Taoist said, "Afraid you're too delicate, can't endure hardship." I replied, "I can endure it." He had many students, and in the evening they all gathered. Wang paid respects to them, and thus they stayed at the Taoist temple. At the break of dawn, the Taoist summoned Wang Sheng, gave him an axe, and ordered him to go with the others to cut firewood. Wang Sheng earnestly accepted the teachings. After more than a month, my hands and feet had developed thick calluses, and I could no longer bear the pain, secretly thinking of going back. One evening, returning home, I saw two people drinking with the teacher. It was already dark outside, but they had not lit any lamps or candles. The teacher then cut out a piece of paper and stuck it on the wall like a mirror. Soon, the moonlight illuminated the entire room, so bright that even the finest hairs could be seen. The disciples gathered around, listening attentively and running about. A guest said, "A beautiful night is worth joy. It should not be enjoyed alone." Then he took the wine pot from the table, distributed it among the disciples, and reminded them to drink until they were completely drunk. Wang thought to himself, how can a pot of wine be shared among 7 or 8 people? So each person brought their own bowl and basin, rushing to drink. Fearing that the wine in the jar would run out, they kept passing the wine back and forth, yet the amount of wine consumed did not decrease. He found it strange. Soon, a guest said, "Grateful for your moonlight, yet you are drinking alone. Why don't you call Ching here?" Then he threw his chopsticks toward the moon. Seeing a beautiful woman stepping out from the light, she was initially less than a chai in height, but once reaching the ground, she became as tall as a person. Her waist was slender, her neck elegant, and she lightly performed the feathered robe dance of the rainbow skirt. Not long after, Chloe sang, "Xiangxian, come back! Are you imprisoning me in the palace of eternal cold?" His voice was clear and high pitched, intense, like the sound of a flute or shao. After finishing singing, it soared into the air, jumped onto the table, and in the blink of an eye turned back into a pair of chopsticks. 3 people burst into laughter. Another guest said, "Tonight is the most enjoyable, but I really can't drink anymore. Can you treat me to a farewell feast in the Moon Palace?" 3 people moved their seats, gradually entering the moon. Everyone looked at the 3 people sitting in the moonlight, drinking, their beards and eyebrows clearly visible, just like a shadow reflected in a mirror. After a while, the moon gradually became dimmer. The disciples lit candles to check, only to find the Taoist sitting alone, while the guests had already vanished. The dishes and fruits on the table still remained. The moon on the wall was merely a round, mirror like shape on paper. The Taoist asked everyone, "Have you had enough to drink?" Everyone replied, "We have had enough." The Taoist said, "Since you're full, go to bed early and don't waste time cutting firewood and gathering grass." After agreeing, the people withdrew. Wang secretly felt happy and envious, and after returning, he no longer missed her. Another month passed. The pain was unbearable, but the Taoist had not taught any magic. Unable to wait any longer, he took his leave and said, "Disciple came from hundreds of miles away to learn your immortal arts, even if I cannot learn the art of immortality. If I could just learn a little bit, it would comfort my heart's desire for learning." Now, after 2 or 3 months, it's just cutting firewood in the morning and returning in the evening. As a disciple at home, you still don't understand this kind of hardship. The Taoist smiled and said, "I originally told you that you couldn't endure hardship, and now it's indeed so. Tomorrow morning, I'll send you to work." Wang said, "I have been learning from you for many days. Teacher, please teach me a little skill. It would not be in vain for me to come this time." The Taoist asked, "What skill do you want to learn?" Wang replied, "Every time I see where you act, walls cannot block you. Just obtaining this magic art would be enough for me. The Tao smiled and agreed. He then taught Wang a mantra, telling him to recite it himself. Then he shouted, "Go," and Wang was afraid to go in facing the wall. The Taoist said again, "Try to go in." Wang indeed calmly walked in, but when he reached the wall, he was blocked. The Taoist said, "Lower your head and go in. Don't hesitate." Wang indeed stepped back a few paces and ran in. When he reached the wall, he felt nothing, and when he turned around, he found himself outside. He was very happy and went in to thank the Taoist. The Taoist said after returning home, "You must remain pure, otherwise, it will not work." Then he provided him with travel money and sent him back. After returning home, he boasted that he had met immortals, saying even the strongest walls could not stop him. His wife did not believe him. When we made Molly in his approach, stepping several feet away from the wall and running into it, his head struck the hard wall and he suddenly fell down. The wife helped him up to look. His forehead was swollen like a big egg. The wife laughed at him. Wang Jin was very angry, but he just scolded the old Taoist for being unscrupulous. The historian's commentary. Hearing the story, no one fails to find it amusing, yet they do not realize that there are indeed many people like Wang Sheng in the world. Now, there's a crude person who likes poison and fears good medicine. Thus, there are people who lick sores and hemorrhoids, presenting displays of power and implementing brutal methods to cater to his heart, deceiving him by saying, as long as you master such methods, you can do whatever you want without any obstacles. The first attempt did not yield significant results, so he thought that the world was vast and that one could do it this way everywhere. As a result, he kept falling until he hit a solid wall.